Thank you very much for speaking to us today, Annie. Could you just briefly outline your role in the film and what your character brings to the film as well?
Yes, I play the character of Eve in the movie, and she is the neighbor of the uh, person. Fletch is staying in someone's apartment, and that's where this murder happens. And I play the neighbor of the dead guy.
So there's been a lot made of the fact that the development of this reboot has been quite a long time in the making. So
Yeah.
can you describe how you became attached to it?
Actually, I just on this one I got a phone call, and they asked if I could go to Boston for a few days, and for actually they said Greg Matola and John Hamm are doing a reboot of Fletch, and would you be interested in? I just said yes, I think before they were finished with the question, and then I went to Boston. It was a phone call on this one, and it was a no-brainer.
Yeah. So how familiar were you with the sort of universe of Fletch before you became involved with this?
Oh gosh, I was a huge fan of the Fletch movies, the original ones, but Greg and John made it very clear that this is a different take. It's his take is based on the books, and that they were doing their own sort of adaptation of the books. And so, yeah, I was really excited to see how, what their take was going to be.
And so what did you make of the take? Because it's, I think it really successfully treads a line between sort of maintaining that old-fashioned sort of screwball sensibility and also updating it a little bit for modern audiences.
Yeah, I was very happy when I saw it. When you shoot something, you don't know how it's going to turn out, and we shot during COVID, and we had, there are a lot of challenges with that, and there were a lot of challenges, and so it felt like a whirlwind, kind of going through a little tornado and coming out the other side, and especially with my character, she's crazy. um, so um, uh, so when I saw it, I was very curious, and when I saw it, I was very pleased. I was very excited. From sort of the first minute of watching the film, I was smiling, and I was really happy. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the craziness of your character. Was
I
she
should have said she's crazy. I shouldn't have said that. We're all
well,
human beings.
eccentric maybe? Eccentric maybe.
Eccentric. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, was she as fun to play as she was to watch?
Yes. It's so much fun to play somebody who's just totally unhinged and doesn't care what anybody thinks, because you really have to go into that zone to play the character. So I myself got to sort of just sort of let loose, and it was very fun. The scene was very technical, so it had a lot of challenges with that, and sort of maintaining that, keeping that sort of free flowing, spirit throughout. Very technical scene, but it was really fun.
Yeah, but it is, I think, easily, I think, the most memorable of all of the comedic set pieces in the film. Was it was it more challenging that it comes across on screen? Was there a lot of kind of difficulties with the logistics of that scene?
Well, yeah, it's a very technical scene to shoot. We had fire, we had cutting and blood, and knives, and we had Mignon, my dog, who's played by this dog named Birdie. And so we had a million things going on, and we had very little time. So it was incredibly technical, and sort of felt like, all right, just we gotta like hit this like right away, and on each take. And so that part of it was challenging, but also that's kind of the fun of it. And doing this, there's always some sort of thing that you're up against, and this one was, come on, to be doing this with John and Greg and everyone else that was involved was really best case scenario.
So what was it like, preparing for that scene with John Hamm? Because, of all of the technical stuff that's going on in that scene, it's really both of your chemistry that brings that scene to life.
Well, I've known John for since Bridesmaids. We worked together on Bridesmaids. I've known him for some years now. We're friends. And so, but we've never worked together like this. And but it did feel very comfortable, and I was excited to kind of play around with him because as a person in regular life, he's so funny all the time. So it just kind of felt like, oh, we'll do what we would normally do in a conversation, but you know, on camera. He's incredibly funny and witty and smart. So I had a lot of comfort and faith going into it, knowing that he would also he's also a very generous actor, so that he takes care of everybody else around him, which I think always elevates something. So it was great. As far as going into the scene, I had to, beforehand, I kind of recall knowing there were all these technical things, sort of like turned up all my senses kind of in a way, because there was fire and there was all this stuff, and you're sort of like being aware of everything going on, and also, you know, trying to get your, you know, characters say what you need to say and hit all those beats and all of that, and also play. So it was a lot. So I kind of just turned everything up and sort of dove in head first.
Yeah. And I think it's good to see a film that really brings out Jon Hamm's you know, comedic timing in that sense. Just broadly on Fletch as a franchise, because you know, it was survived largely by a very fervent cult following originally, but it's not quite as familiar to later generations of filmgoers. Is it your hope that this reboot will kind of change that, or do you think it appeals mainly to that original, you know, fan base?
Oh gosh, I would hope that, you know, it's for all ages, especially because it's a different take on the books and the character. I really, my kids really liked it. They're teenagers. So I think that it does appeal to everybody. And yeah, that the people that were Fletch, the original Fletch fans, keep an open mind, and you know, all of that. But it's because I do find it a fun story and fun movie.
Yeah, it's very fun, and it brings out the fun and lightness of you know, because I was speaking to your co-star Lorenzo earlier on about that, you know, the fact that the reason that this film works is because it's sort of spoofing noir tropes, and noir tropes are often very heavy and cynical, but this kind of brings out lightness in those tropes.
Yes, and you know, I think we could stand to have a little lightness right now. There's plenty of everything else, and I think we could stand to have more of it. If we can't do that, you know, I don't know what happens. It's just, that's one thing I also love about the movie, is that it's not taking any crazy stand against anything, or, you know, strong saying, you know, it's just a fun journey, and an escape, which I like in movies. I like all kinds of movies, and I do like going in, you know, on all the other genres and everything like that. But I do think that I wish we had more of these too.
Yeah, no, it's refreshing to see something like that, as you say, doesn't really take a stance on anything and is there kind of just for entertainment's sake, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's your hopes for the future of the franchise? Do you think that we'll get to see more of Jon Hamm's Fletch?
Oh my gosh, I hope so. I really hope they make more of these. I would be a fan. I just think that this is one of those characters. Fletch is one of those characters that you can take anywhere and do anything with him, and seeing the world through his lens and everything is it's so fun that I would hope they make a lot more. Yeah, it would make a great series.
Yeah, I think I mean, I'm personally relishing the chance of seeing more of this particular reboot. I mean,
Yeah.
would you be interested in reprising the role if the opportunity came up?
Hands down, yes. Across, no. Again, that would be, but I don't know how that would happen, because she's
Yes, yeah.
you know, lives you know, she was very specific to this.
Yes.
story, but yeah, I would do anything they ever asked me to do. Sure.
I think I'm just thinking from a I think I'm just thinking from a selfish perspective because I just enjoyed the character so much. You know, she just brought so much,
That's
so much life to the film. So yeah, I really hope that we get to see more of this reboot franchise. And yeah, it's been great speaking to you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Likewise.